innate. I'm healing myself holistically, naturally. The food that I used to eat is attracting me. I became vegan, I changed my mentality. Everything I want in life, it attracts me. Maybe someday we'll live lavishly with a property full of fig trees and apple trees. Let's get it. Yeah, certified vegan, organic fruit I'm eating. I just met my soul tribe at a meeting. We've been harvesting fresh fruit the whole season. Mangoes with yams and
We'll see. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So it's a pleasure to be here with you all today. Thank you for being here. Let's talk about health, okay? Because I know everybody here is interested in their health and is probably committed to their health to varying degrees. What I want to talk about is how simple real health is, okay? Because a lot of us, and listen, I came up doing the same thing. I got really sick at 23. I got much worse with 3 years of medical care. And I tried everything to get well. I tried herbs, I tried naturopathy, I tried chiropractic. I tried all these things. And then finally realized that the truth was much simpler than any of that. Okay? Some of you may know this, but there's approximately 25 million animal species on the planet, and every one of them lives at an amazing level of health and vitality in nature. Right? The exceptions are who? Domesticated animals, pets, farm animals, laboratory animals, circus animals. These animals are just as sick as most people are. But in nature, animals have an amazing level of health and vitality. And there's a couple of reasons for that. The most important one is that in nature, every species eats its natural diet. Okay, that's all they eat. Okay, they eat the food that their bodies were intended to eat. And there's probably not a single person here who grew up doing that, right? Anybody? Yeah.
Not even close.
90% of our DNA, the bonobos and chimpanzees, were meant to eat fruit and soft, tender leaves. And that's really all we need. Now we can eat more. You can eat raw pizza if you want to. Okay, you can have smoothies and juices and other things. But you want to be clear that if we follow the natural plan, the plan of nature, the inevitable result is an amazing level of health. Okay, that's what happens for every other species. That's what happens for humans as well. The only thing is, okay, if you've spent 8 or 25 or 29 years making conventional choices, okay, it may take a little bit more work to get to that high level of health. Just eating optimally isn't going to be enough for most people, okay? And it's not because there's a problem with the diet, it's because we have a lot of damage to undo from years of making poor choices. Now, how many of you grew up eating conventionally? Is there anyone who didn't grow up eating conventionally? Okay, we all did, right? Hopefully, most of you never experienced what I did. 3 years where I was exhausted, could barely get out of bed, my body stopped functioning. And when everything else failed, I looked at nature and I realized that every species in nature, 25 million species, when they're sick enough or badly enough injured, they lay down and they stop eating. Okay? Now, fasting sounds crazy to most people. And I remember when I first heard about it, I was reading a book, the guy had been dead for 85 years. He was talking about people going weeks without food. And I thought, that's insane. But it actually resonated with me a little bit. Okay? And I grew up with some exposure to fasting. I'm Jewish, but only on my parents' side. And so we fasted one day every year. I knew I could do that. I thought, I'll try 2. And I parked myself close to the refrigerator just in case. I really didn't know if I could do that or not. Okay? I've now fasted more than 3.5 years of my life cumulatively. Okay? Not in a row. This is over the last 37 years. But it's amazing what's happened, including the fact that I haven't been sick one day in 37 years.
Yeah.
Now we have clients because I've been, how many of you are raw vegans? Raise your hand if you're a raw vegan. Okay, quite a few hands, good. Because I've heard it's a pretty good diet. I'm trying it myself. The jury's out, it's only been 32.5 years so far. We'll see if it works. Okay. We've had clients who were all raw for as long as 22 years. And in fact, there's a name, I don't have permission to share her name, so I won't. There's a well-known raw vegan author who said to me, look, I've been eating this way for 20 years already. I don't really expect much to happen, but it'll be nice to have a break from my family and my job. And so she came and spent a month with us. And when she left, she spent the next 2 months traveling around speaking about how incredible the experience was. Because it's absolutely life-changing for most people. Okay? Our natural diet consists of foods that are high in water and fiber. And again, that's really all we're meant to eat. Okay? If you're eating gourmet raw food, just be careful because it's often not high in water. Okay? The stuff that's not high in water and fiber, some of it gets stuck in the body. Okay? If those of you that have heard me live or seen my videos, I often talk about this giant sponge that lives in the body. When we eat or drink, it's absorbing water. When we go to bed at night and don't eat or drink for 10 hours, it dries out again. It never leaves the body. Okay, it stays stuck there until we give the body a chance to break it down and hydrate. And that's what happens. One of the many things that happens when people fast long enough and properly. Okay? So, I've come a long way from thinking 2 days sounded a little scary. If you think fasting is crazy, look at that. Yeah. It's a good thing those things weren't invented when I was a kid. Because I'd have been dead a long time ago if they were. From thinking 2 days was extreme, sounded extreme to me, our average client fast over the last 28 and a half years with nearly 11,000 clients is 26 days. It's a 5-week process and it's life-changing for most people. Okay? If you're coachable and open, if you're not coachable and open, please don't come. Okay? It's too much work to work with people that won't take direction. But if you're coachable and open, I will guarantee you in writing, you'll take your health to a level you haven't experienced in decades, and for some of you, ever. Okay? It's incredible what happens, and I'll give you a couple of examples. I have a client who grew up here in California, and about 6 years ago, she was texting while driving, and she drove off the road where there was one of these deals, rolled the car, and broke her neck. And she's now paralyzed from here down. Okay, she was called a quadriplegic because although she could move her arms, she couldn't control her hands. Okay? She fasted with me for 32 days. At the end of that time, she could have a bowel movement for the first time without mechanical assistance. She could feel her spine for the first time in 4.5 years. And she could control her hands to where she can now pick up a glass and drink, something she couldn't do before. Medicine says if it's been 2 years since that kind of accident, there is 0 chance of recovery. And yet she recovered, not completely, but significantly. And she wants to fast again.
Oh, I'm listening to this speaker.
Okay.
I'm right in front.
Medicine says,
Let me call you
those
back.
of you that are 29 like me, probably know people who have hypertension. Because if you're over 50, most people have hypertension. Okay, medicine says you can't heal it. You take medication for the rest of your life. We have 100% success with well over 1,000 clients. Okay, your body cleans out the garbage, no more hypertension. Same thing with type 2 diabetes, with almost everything. Our bodies are meant to function at an incredible level. Okay, if you're willing to do what you need to do, you can feel and function better than you have for a long time, maybe ever. Okay, so this is intended to be short, but I wanted you guys to understand, if you're not feeling and functioning as well as you could, don't give up hope. Okay, there's a way to get there if you're willing to do what you need to. It's an incredible experience. And it's amazing what happens because, well, I'll share something with you that it blows people away. We started measuring people's hydration level using a $500 device invented for that purpose. Almost 19 years ago, 18 and a half years ago. We've now measured almost 7,000 people. Almost everybody is severely dehydrated. Okay, and I'll tell you a couple things because I know what's going on out there, the trends and so forth. The most dehydrated people we see every single session will have about 30 people at a time fasting. The most dehydrated people we see are the people who have a dry fasting habit. Okay, people who dry fast make themselves severely dehydrated. They think they're healing themselves because the body cannot detoxify without water. Okay, whether it's through the urinary tract, the colon, the skin, the breath, or the mucous membranes, nothing leaves the body without sufficient water. They make themselves dehydrated enough, there's no detoxification, they think, oh, I'm all better. Okay, dehydration leads to early death. Okay, hydration is the single most important thing. We measure all kinds of things with our clients every day. I've got a doctor on staff, a nurse, and a physician's assistant. And the most important thing we measure, in my opinion, is hydration levels. Okay? The only way to get hydrated is to get this old garbage out of the body. What happens when you get hydrated is everything changes. Okay, now this is a pretty young group, so most of you probably aren't too concerned about aging, but most of what we think of as normal aging is actually chronic dehydration, including wrinkles, joint problems, loss of vision. Macular degeneration is the number one age-related cause of vision loss. Okay, shrinking, right? Compression of the spine. All these things happen because people are severely chronically dehydrated. And we can change that. Okay, when you change it, it's amazing what happens. One more piece around hydration, which is kind of scary. Science tells us if your brain is 2% dehydrated, your cognitive function drops by 20%. And the average person is much more than 2% dehydrated.
Wow.
20% loss of cognitive ability. Okay? So I'm really grateful to be able to be here with you guys today, to be able to share something with you. I'm so grateful for all the people who continue to come to Tanglewood, because it means I don't have to get a job. I mean, I spend my time doing the thing I do if I didn't need any money. We charge, right? I've got 22 staff, and it's expensive to run the facility, but it's what I'd do anyway, because it's amazing to see what happens for people. Okay, it's an incredible thing. I'm staying right now with ocean view in a house that a client of mine who's fasted with me 8 times said, take it for the month, it's yours. Okay, and this is the 5th client's house I've been in the last year. Okay, where they said, you can stay as long as you want. Okay, because these people are grateful to have back their health and function. Okay? I don't want to go too long because I know this is a party today, but I'll take a few questions if there's any questions.
What kind of, is it juice fasting? Is it water fasting?
Okay, thank you. So the question was, is this juice fasting or water fasting? It's water only fasting. To be clear, fasting means complete abstinence from calories and nutrients. So if you're drinking juices, it's a feast, it's not a fast. You could live on juices for the rest of your life if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend it, okay? But you could do that. Okay, we need fiber. There's essential nutrients bound up in the fiber, and our gut biome, which is 10 trillion bacteria that live in your intestine, feed on fiber. Okay, so you don't want to live on juices. But this is water only fasting. We take no supplements, there's no electrolytes, it's only water. If you introduce anything, a single nutrient, your body says, oh, there's food coming, and sends a third of your energy to your digestive tract.
What kind of water?
So we use spring water, which bubbles up out of the ground right on site. It's one of the reasons why we are where we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is mucoid plaque real?
Is mucoid plaque real?
Yes.
So how many of you know what mucoid plaque is?
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with the word mucoid plaque is Pop-Tarts and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and Cheerios and donuts and all the things you've ever eaten that weren't high in water and fiber. Okay, every time you eat anything that's not high in water and fiber, some little bit of it gets stuck in your body. According to a Danish paper published 6 or 7 years ago, their participants were between 25 and 50. They found the average person had between 11 and 22 pounds of this material stuck in their body. We see it with every client who follows directions. Every session there's someone who says, I can't drink that much water. And if you don't hydrate it, it's not leaving your body. Or you better hope it doesn't try to. Okay, because that wouldn't be any fun. All right, yeah.
How much water do you want them to drink each day?
How much water do I want them to drink each day? That's a great question. Whatever they need. But let me clarify. They don't determine that. We do. Let me tell you a very quick story. I fasted a young law student from Amsterdam about 4 years ago. 5 years ago. It was life-changing for him. He'd been depressed. He was low in energy. I mean, he was having a rough time. So he fasted 21 days with me, changed his life. A year later, he comes back to me and says, I want to do this again. And we set it all up. And the last minute he says, but I disagree with you about how much water we should be drinking. So if it's okay with you, this time, I'm just going to drink when I'm thirsty. I said, it's not okay with me. If you're not going to take coaching on this, I can't guide you through the process. So he took himself through the fast. He did it on his own. I didn't hear from him for another year, at which point he told me that he wound up in the hospital with 3% kidney function because of dehydration. He was in the hospital for 3 months at the age of 26, almost died. He came back to me and said, I'm an idiot. Not me, him. He said, I'm an idiot. I wish I'd listened to you. I want to fast again to heal my kidneys. Will you take me if I take your coaching? I said, yeah, if you'll follow coaching, no problem. So I took him through another 21-day fast, and 3 months later, he had a scan. They said he had 100% kidney function.
Wow.
Okay? Your body is meant to heal. In fact, healing is a biological process. And what that means is that only your body can heal your body. Okay? Drugs can't heal you. They're toxic substances that poison you and they suppress symptoms. Okay? Herbs are toxic substances, and I know I'm going to step on some toes here. And this is my truth, okay? Only the body can heal the body. We have a lot of people who come to us, they've been using herbs for years. Some of them say, I couldn't afford it anymore. So they're spending hundreds of dollars a month on these herbs. They stop taking them, all the symptoms come back. They were suppressing the symptoms, okay? They fast long enough, symptoms are gone. Okay, I take 0 herbs, 0 supplements. Okay, I eat fruit and leafy greens. Every once in a while, raw vegan pizza. But not too often, because I don't feel as good when I do it. Okay, yes sir.
I have an section protein drop in the heart. So I need to be heart. I started to fast raw food.
If I had 2, I'd give you one.
I like that. I wouldn't take it. I won't mind it. But the changes I did make, it did increase the function.
It improved, yeah.
I can still see that I'm still not.
Okay, so there's approximately a 100% chance that you could dramatically improve your heart function, because we see that with every client in a similar situation. I can't promise you, I can never promise anyone that you can heal that specific condition completely, because each body is different. You know, we have clients sometimes who come to us and they've been told they've got 3 weeks to live. And they say to me, can fasting heal me? And I say, I don't know. It's difficult at this stage. It's often late stage cancer, for instance. That's difficult to do. It's not impossible. We have stage 4 patients healing all the time, but not everyone. Okay, you guaranteed it will get better, probably much better. Okay. Yeah.
So how do you determine each person? Yeah.
Water
How much
intake.
water
Yeah.
is
So
in?
coming back to the water, how do we determine? I figured out 25 years ago that I could interpret the vital signs. So every day we measure your blood pressure, your pulse, your temperature, your blood oxygen saturation, your blood sugar, your muscle mass, body fat, water in the body, and weight. And I figured out how to interpret those numbers to understand whether you're getting enough water or not. Okay, that's how we determine.
So how much each person?
Let me clarify. So I can't look at your numbers today and say, oh, this means you need 4.5 liters.
Yeah.
What I can do is, we ask you to keep track of how much you drink. So I can look at your numbers and say, based on this, you didn't get enough yesterday. You drank 4.5. Let's try 5 liters today.
Okay.
Most people start out needing 4 liters, some people more, and most people get to the point, and again, my clients are fasting 21 to 40 days most of the time, they get to the point where they're drinking anywhere between 6 and 8 liters a day, sometimes more. Don't let that scare you, okay?
What about mathematically determining how big you are, how tall you are?
It's a good question. The question was, wouldn't it depend on how big you are? Yes, but not necessarily in the way you'd imagine, okay? So we fast people often who are dramatically underweight. They can't put on healthy weight. And the reason for that usually is because, and I get to say this in public, we're the kids, okay? They're so full of shit, they're not assimilating anything. There's so much old material in there, they're not absorbing nutrients through their intestine, okay? I've seen this over and over again. I mean, it's crazy, but it's the skinny people, the really, really skinny people. Okay, we just had a woman who was 5'7", 99 pounds when she started. She fasted for 30 days. She had 318 bowel movements and 33 days of refeeding. That's almost 10 every day. This is stuff she'd been collecting. She's only 27 years old. Okay? If you're older than that, you might have more than that in your body. Okay? So when someone is very lean like that, as we metabolize fat, the body produces perfect water. Okay? But when someone is very, very skinny, okay, I had a woman who was 5'7" and 88 pounds. Okay? She fasted 21 days. The average person will lose 21 pounds in 21 days. It's not a pound per day. It's 11 pounds the first week, and 7 pounds the second week, and 3 pounds the third. And it sounds insane that would be consistent. It's really consistent. The only time it's not consistent is if you are carrying a lot of excess weight and then you lose weight much faster than average because your intelligent body says, finally, I can unload all this garbage weight, all this excess weight. And so the metabolism stays high and they burn weight off much faster. Okay? I've had clients lose 100 pounds in 5 or 6 weeks with me when they were morbidly obese. People who are very lean, like the woman I just told you about, 5'7", 88 pounds, she lost 40% as much as the average person. Just under 9 pounds in 21 days instead of 21 pounds. So because she's burning fat much more slowly than the average person, her body's not making much water. She has to drink it all. Okay, the guy who's 350 pounds, he's burning 3.5 pounds per day. His body is making a lot of water. He may need less than the person who weighs 1/4 as much as he does. So it's not exactly what you expect it to be. Okay, yeah.
Protocol as far as how you have your clients drink water, because 8 liters, that's a lot of water. I mean, how do you and then it's full-time chug it or?
Yeah, so thank you, because I was just about to say this and got sidetracked. Sipping is absolutely critical, okay? If you take one thing away from this only, okay, aside from the fact that I'm incredibly attractive, that's a given. That's a given. The other thing you want to be clear about is that you must sip water slowly, because if you drink it quickly, if you drink it faster, your kidneys can process it, you pee it out, and you lose electrolytes with it. And when you're eating, I mean, some of you have guzzled water every day of your life. But if you're eating 3 to 5 times a day, you're still here because you're replacing those electrolytes with every meal. Okay, when you're doing 21 to 42 days without food, you need to make sure you're not flushing out your electrolytes. Okay, so you sip water no more than 16 ounces per hour, slowly over the course of the hour. So if it's 16 ounces an hour, it's 8 ounces in 30 minutes, and 4 ounces in 15, and 2 ounces in 7.5, and 1 ounce every 3 3/4, and you understand what I'm saying, okay? That's really important to do. As long as you do it that way, theoretically, if you didn't sleep, you could drink 12 liters a day. But I'd encourage you to sleep. Yeah.
I'm wondering, do you recommend just do it? Do you recommend them doing like 28 days right away, or you say
question. The question was, for people who are new to this, do I recommend them doing 28 days right away? No, you should wait at least 5 or 6 minutes, and then you can do the 28. So here's the thing, your body knows exactly what to do. The personality, the ego doesn't know. Okay? And that's why it's important that you have someone guiding you through the process. But of the more than 1,000 people I've guided for 6 weeks or longer, you ready for this? My longest client fast was a young man. He was 29 years old. He had stage 4 testicular cancer. He fasted for 18 and a half weeks. That's 4.5 months. When he was done, there was no trace of cancer. Okay? Now, if you're not morbidly obese, you might not want to try fasting for 4.5 months. Okay? A lot of us wouldn't survive that process. Okay? But virtually everybody here could do between 6 and 8 weeks. Even those people who are relatively lean. Okay? Because again, what happens when you're lean is you go through your reserves more slowly. So I had a guy who was 6 feet tall, 125 pounds, fast nearly 8 weeks with me. Okay? Yeah.
After the fasting, can you take us on how it looks, the refeeding, how the refeeding?
The question is, what does the refeeding process look like? So we start you with very small meals every couple hours the first day. There are 5 meals the first day. Now it's only the first day at Tanglewood. We have watermelon, papaya, and fresh coconuts 12 months of the year. Okay? So those are the only 3 things we offer the first day because they're all high in water and very easy to digest. You're going to choose one of them for the whole day. Every 2 hours it's a small meal. The second day, more, twice as much. Every 2.5 hours, 5 times. The third day we go to 4 meals. Again, it doubles in size. And then it grows a little more slowly after that. It's a very gradual process. By the end of the week, let's say if you do 21 days, which is the minimum I recommend, and I'll tell you why. It takes the body 10 to 11 days to be fully into the deepest part of the process. There's 10 to 11 days to get there. So we look by the week. If you come for 2 weeks, you can fast for 11 days. You're just getting to that part of the process. If you spend 3 weeks with us, you can fast 16. You've got 5 to 6 days in that part of the process. If you come for 4 weeks, you've got roughly twice as much time in the deepest part of the process. It's a lot more powerful. Okay? So if you do 4 weeks with us, you'll have 7 days refeeding. For most people, by day 5, you feel amazing. They're working out, they're getting their strength back by the time they leave. Most people have never felt that. Okay? People who are very, very lean or very weak, don't have a lot of muscle mass, it's going to take them longer. Okay? They might still be a bit weak when they leave us, but it comes back. Yes, sir.
When you're doing the water fast, what do you recommend?
Okay, it's a great question. When you're doing the fast, what do I recommend for sodium? What I recommend is the sodium that's already in your body. No, you missed it just a minute ago. If you add any nutrients of any kind, your body thinks there's food coming. Okay? Our largest competitors here in California, True North, up above San Francisco, they give their clients electrolytes. They're not actually fasting because they're never in fasting physiology. There's a whole host of physiological changes that occur when there's no nutrients at all. Now think about this. Again, I know this is controversial because so many people out there say, oh, you have to have electrolytes. Again, I don't know anybody else who's guided as many people through the process as I have. We never give our clients electrolytes. We don't ever have problems. That's not true. It's very rare for someone to have an electrolyte problem, except for in very specific circumstances that we're looking out for. Okay? So the question was, do we test? We can test if we think we need to. We don't normally test. Well, so everybody has to test. We're not worried about iodine. What we're worried about is sodium, potassium, and chloride levels at the beginning of the process. And the reason why is because if your sodium, potassium, or chloride is way out of range, There are some side effects which are generally considered negative, like your heart might stop. Okay, I think that's usually not a good thing. Right. But what we found is that as long as we test everyone before they start, we actually have them do it before they come, 4 weeks before. Because if they're too low, I'll help them bring those levels up. As long as they start with the levels where they should be, they've been fine. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay? Yeah.
For someone that might be in a life situation where I can't commit time-wise or financially to doing that, where can I start today, right here, right now?
Okay.
Is there even a way? Is there a bridge in between, or is
Well,
it full or nothing kind of thing?
all or nothing, man. You don't belong here. What is wrong with you?
That's a different conversation.
Life is busy. A lot of people have a similar situation. So the first thing that everyone can do is they can increase their water intake and make sure they're sipping. Okay? Replace other drinks with water as much as you're willing to. Okay? Take dry foods out of your diet as much as you can. Make your diet as close to 100% raw as possible. If you're not doing that, that's an easy thing to change. And by the way, let me change that. It's a simple thing to change. It may not be easy for some people, okay? But it is something everyone can do, and something you can do right now. Now, I'll be honest, when people say to me, it sounds great, but I can't do that. Okay, what I'll say to them is, I get it, okay? When you're ready to commit to your health, let me know. Because here's the truth about it. We find a way to do anything we want to do. If you want it, you figure out how, okay? And I mean, listen, I get it completely. I've been in many times in my life in places where I couldn't have done it either. It got to a point for me, I basically gave up a business because I needed to take care of my health. And that was more important to me than anything else. And it still is. Woo! Oh, yeah, baby. Come to you and then you.
If people are exercising during the fast, how do they keep their electrolytes up?
Yeah, it's a good question. If people are exercising during their fast, how do they keep their electrolytes up? They probably don't. And this is why they shouldn't be moving any more than necessary. Has anyone ever seen a cat or dog get sick enough to refuse to eat? What does it do? Just lays there, it doesn't do anything. Okay? Fasting is about resting as completely as possible. So you definitely don't want to exercise while you're fasting. Not an extended therapeutic fast. Okay, daily fast? Yeah, I had breakfast about an hour ago. I had 1 piece of watermelon today and a little sample of your durian smoothie. That's what I've eaten so far today. As you can see, I don't have any energy. Okay, I've lost all my strength. I can't think clearly. See, when people don't eat and feel bad, it's not because they need food. It's because the lack of food allows them to begin detoxifying. Once you get your body clean, it's not a problem. Okay? Coconut water. And he had symptoms. Okay, he was hiccuping, he had acid reflux. And so this is the other thank you so much, because this is a piece I needed to say and forgot to say. Okay? Everybody interacts with symptoms like they're the problem. Right? Most people think if they have no symptoms, they're well. Okay? Symptoms are evidence your body is cleansing or healing or attempting to. So when you fast, when you get out of your body's way and let it do what it needs to do, you're going to have symptoms. Those symptoms can include the entire universe of possible symptoms. Cold symptoms, flu symptoms, headaches, bellyaches, nausea, fever. It just depends on what your body needs to accomplish. It's different for each person. Okay? This is why it's important to have someone guiding you through the process who understands the process. Okay? Because I can say to you, RJ, it's okay, no worries. Okay? You're fine. Or not, if that's the case. Okay? Yeah.
I've done a sample, I'm trying to remember.
This is a blood test.
Right, okay.
So again, we have people do it before they come to us.
Okay.
Hopefully this year we're going to buy a machine at several $1,000s so we can do them on site. We don't have the machine, which means we have a lab. If we need, we'll have someone come from the lab. We have a doctor on site but they'll only test blood they take themselves. And so it's about $130 to have someone come and take your vitals. You pay for that, your electrolytes. If we need to do that, we rarely need to do that. But if we need to, we can get that done. What I'm hoping to do in the next year is not only get that machine, but I want to begin testing everything we can that's not invasive.
So that's when I said, God, I need to know causes, solutions, and how to live. You show me those three things, I'm in. I'll do whatever that is. And so when I discovered what was causing all my issues, and when I discovered solutions, what I could do about it, and when I discovered how to live this lifestyle, and I was taught, I was taken through this near-death experience when I was dying in bed, right after that. When I was shown these teachings, and then I woke up the next day, I knew it was the truth. The only thing is, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to adopt it and how to take it on. I didn't know how to structure it into my life. I had no idea, no clue how to do all these things. That's why I say, when I ask for me to meet someone that could mentor me, that could actually coach me or guide me directly, put me under his wing kind of thing, right after that, I met this guy named Shigeki. And he was Asian. He was born, raised in Hawaii, but he was Japanese descent. But he spoke fluent English, you know. I mean, he also spoke Japanese too, but he was kind of like the Miyagi guy in the Karate Kid story, sort of like him, you know. But anyway, when we met, there was so much synergy. And you know, when I first met him, I had no idea who this guy was. He was actually working on the base, because I was in the Air Force at the time when this happened, but he was working on the Air Force base once a week as a barber. Did you guys ever see the movie called The Peaceful Warrior?
Yeah.
Oh, you have? Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh, you've been blown away, man. Have you guys seen it? When'd you see it? 3 days ago. It's listening. Let's just say it's listening. Imagine your body like your whole being. Let's say, imagine it like a tower, like a cellular tower. Imagine it like that, a cellular tower. But then imagine every cell that makes up your body like a cell phone. So in the tower, can you communicate to every cell phone, like millions and millions of cell phones, right? So imagine you being the tower, and imagine that every thought that you have, every emotion that you have, every feeling, you know, everything you eat and drink, every single move you make, every cell is feeling it, sensing it. You're communicating to it, right? It's receiving this message, whatever you give it, right? And the thing is, it actually does what you tell it. That's why it's more importantly than ever for us to become conscientious and awake and aware that what our thoughts are, it is going to transport into us. So when people have negative thinking going on, it actually, the cells in our body are affected by that. They receive it. And so when you make these decisions on what you choose to think, it is actually affecting every cell within your body. In spite of all the pain that I was going through, it was really the love for that lady. My love was so great for that lady because I knew that out of love for her, and I knew that if I could do what she requested, she would change, she would heal and get well. So my love and the outcome for her life was so great that it surpassed my pain. You see what I'm saying?
No,
So after like eating restaurant cuisine and stuff.
Yeah.
Just like group just stuff you get from the store.
Yeah, it feels so good to be able to, you know, like have my arms up, like holding someone.
15 minutes at work.